All right, listeners, our crazy offer that we are giving in correlation with our book launch in early October 2025. And as part of the launch, we are doing a series kind of discussing the Solopreneur Success Cycle, which is what the book is based on. We are not giving away everything in the book. These episodes are quick overviews. They'll still provide value. So even if you don't buy it, which you should, you'll still get something, but we definitely dive further into these topics. In our last episode, we discussed the Solopreneur Success Cycle. We kind of give it an overview. You can find a link to it in our show notes. But today we want to dive into what we call step 0. And that is the whole section on defining your goals. And I know you're thinking, you're like, well, yeah, I have goals. Well, like we all have goals on New Year's Eve, and then we don't stick to any of those goals. Obviously, those goals are important, but the biggest thing when it comes to goals is your why. Because when you are flying solo in business, you're going to take directions you don't necessarily want to take. You're going to make decisions you don't agree with, and then you backtrack on. It's just kind of, you're all over the place as a solopreneur. You can be, unless you have that North Star to drive all of your decisions towards. And that is your why. And that should be the basis of all of your goals. So if you're like, should I take this offer? Well, does it align with my goal? Yes. Does it not align with my goal? No. And as you're creating these goals, you'll start to understand the power of no. And Joe, we talk about the power of no frequently in our episodes, on our webinar, or in our live events and everything. But the more focus you can get on your goals, the more focused you can be in all the decisions and efforts you make with your business, and you'll stop spinning your wheels, because that is something that we see solopreneurs run into time and time again. So when I say your why, I don't mean, because I want time back in my day. I want you to get really, really, really specific. I call it the toddler rule, where you're like, oh, why? Why? And so you say, why do I want more time back in my day? Because I want to hit my fitness goals. Well, why do you want to hit your fitness goals? Because I want to have enough energy to play with my grandkids when I reach that point. You look like you're going to say something.
Well, just you and grandkids. No, that's.
I mean, I'm trying to throw you into the conversation too, Joe. I'm not talking about you specifically. But why do you want to play with your grandkids? Because that fills your cup, that brings you joy, and that at the end of the day is what everything is all about. Bingo. So when you are making these decisions, if the ultimate decision you're making doesn't align with you ultimately playing with your grandkids because you're in great shape and you're aligned with that goal that you set, I just lost my train of thought. But everything needs to line up to that decision. Joe, chime in here.
Yeah, so I totally agree with everything that you're saying. The thing to keep in mind is that one of the risks of not doing this is building a business you don't like running, right? So as you're defining the business later on in this process, you're going to be looking at these goals and making sure. So, you want to get in better shape so that you can play with your grandkids. But if the business you build involves a lot of traveling, well, maybe you could get into shape because there's, a gym in the hotel, but, you're going to be away from home and not being able to spend time with the grandkids. So there's just, making this set of goals front and center when you're defining what the business is going to be like is really important, because I have built businesses I don't like running, and it's not fun. It's less fun when they're not successful, but even when they're successful, it can be like, I've seen a lot of people trying to sell businesses, and they're like, I've got, 2,000 members in my online community, and it's making this much revenue, but I'm just done, because that's not what they wanted. And so that's really important to kind of do that. And also, just another thing I want to point out is that it's really important to create goals that are realistic. So, I might have a goal that my dog won't bark during the podcast recording. You might have a goal that your kids are quiet during the podcast recording. Never going to happen. So don't make it a goal. Going to just be frustrated. So anyway, I don't know if you heard him barking, but anyway.
Should be timely, like this episode. And them barking and making a noise during this.
Right. So just keep it real. The whole why thing is awesome.
Well, and I think also the important thing for setting goals, because this is a step that so many people miss, or they think about it, but they don't put honest effort into it. And our whole point is this is step 0 before you do anything with your business. This includes planning. Like you need to You need to plan your goals. You need to document your goals.
Right.
And yeah, it could be your North Star, but also you want to track your progress and your goals may change. So I would say like write your goals down, your specific goals down. I mean, many of you have heard of SMART goals, and I feel like we keep talking about parts of the acronym, but write those goals down, put them somewhere front and center, and then like track your progress with them. Like are your efforts reaching those goals? And we like to call it a change chart where you can see where you started and see where you're going and see if your goals are still aligned. It's okay if your goals change over time, but you need to be able to see where you stand with them as you create your business. So I would say frequent check-ins. I think monthly to check in on these goals. That it depends on your business, sure, but just have honest conversations with yourself. And the other thing is, we've talked to so many solopreneurs, and their goals are financial. Or, I mean, in one way or another, it's I want to make X amount of dollars, or I want to pay off my mortgage, or I want to save for my kids' college, which that's great. Like, I mean, obviously,
You need financial goals. Yeah, definitely.
this
Yeah.
is a business. You need to support your lifestyle. But you forget to say, I have a goal of waking up in the morning, like relaxed, because so many people wake up with their business and they're like, fire alarms are going off and it's crazy. What are your goals of how you feel? What are your goals of how you spend your day? What are your goals of who you surround yourself with? Like, really think through your ideal lifestyle and then think through how your business relates to that. So don't forget other areas. I mean, we are so big on like intertwining your life and your business from a don't let it take over. Like you want to create a business that works for you, not that you work for it. And so think of those personal goals as they relate to your business and your business as they relate to your personal goals and put a lot of time and effort into it. And it's actually fun. I love that phase of the journey.
I'm assuming that anybody that's starting a one-person business, I mean, if you've already done it, great. But if you're going to start one, your life isn't exactly what you want. I mean, if you had a perfect life right now, why would you change something? Right?
Yeah.
So there's something you want to have be different. And so the change chart is just writing down where you are now in these various categories that are important to you, and then where you want them to be when you've successfully implemented this one-person business and made these changes to your life. And so that's what you were talking about with the change chart. And it's a really powerful exercise to do. And I highly recommend it. And the other thing I just want to point out, because you kind of said it, but accountability is crucial to this, because if you don't hold yourself accountable to keep maintaining your goals, it's not going to happen. And the other thing is that having other people around you to help keep you accountable can be a really powerful tool toward kind of sticking to this, because other people just, we're social beings. And when we tell somebody else we're doing something, then they go, how's that going? You feel a lot more pressure than if it's just you. And this is one of the things about being solo, right? That it's harder to be accountable because you don't have a boss or a coworkers relying on you. You're just relying on yourself.
Accountability and reminders. So I'm not going to show my phone screen because one, I don't know if it'll come through, but two, I have personal stuff on it that I won't show. But my home screen it includes my goals. So I have pictures on there on my screen because we all look at our phones a gazillion times a day. So every time I grab my phone, my goals, there are 8 pictures, and it's different things that I'm working towards. And if the things that I'm presented with don't align with those, it's easier to say no, which is my full tie back to the beginning of this episode.
Very good. Well done.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is part of a series that we're going through over the Solopreneur Success Cycle, so be sure to tune into the other episodes. But in the meantime, please share this episode with a friend, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, leave that 5-star review, and we will see you next time on The Aspiring Solopreneur.